listening to the Epically Geeky Show, a place for all things geeky.
Welcome out to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 175. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight I'm joined by Joseph, Ray, and Kris. How are y'all doing?
175?
175.
Still a little old now.
We've been doing this show for a minute, let me tell you.
Listen, listeners, you're here, even if you aren't.
Especially since we moved to a monthly episode. Like, it'd be one thing if we were doing this weekly still. That would be like, 175, whatever. But since, because we didn't do very many, we didn't stay on a weekly list for very long. We moved to monthly pretty quick. So,
yeah, we couldn't.
Well, that's what happens with
up.
life.
Yeah. Like, we could probably do this show once a week if this was the only show we were doing. Like,
yes,
we decided we wanted to do a book club and we wanted to do other things, and so which is all good. Tonight's opening question is: what is the first movie you remember watching as a kid? Would anyone like to go first?
I'll go.
All right, Kris. What is the first movie you remember seeing in the theater?
Okay,
or watching as a kid?
Okay, so this is a couple of components here. So I have three answers. The first feature, I guess it's kind of a movie or like an extended feature. I watched Thriller when I was 5.
Okay.
It freaked the hell out of me.
Yeah, I bet.
The first one I remember actually seeing in theaters was The Lion King with my uncle, and he fell asleep in the movie theater. The first movies I kind of remember watching, we were in the same elementary school, and we had a very religious librarian. She would show us the 10 Commandments every year. In a public school. We also, every year at our final assembly, we would watch Flight of the Navigator. And then I, for some reason, remember watching Pretty Woman when I was 10. With my sister who was 8. I don't know. We were in a basement. Parents were upstairs.
You know what's funny? Christy kind of has a very similar story about that movie in particular. She watched it with her aunt when she definitely was too young to watch it. Of course, she didn't understand. All she knew that was, wow, that guy is really pretty. So, yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
It's dancing. It's kind of weird dancing, but okay. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
So, Ray, what's the first movie you remember watching?
So I'm going to give you 3 as well, only because they're very distinctive. So the first theater movie that I really remember is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that was friggin' awesome.
Yes.
I was 8 years old when it came out, and it was sort of like big impact on like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I also remember for like special versions of things, Jurassic Park. My dad took me to the theater in Toronto.
You've told this story.
And I know I told it before, but I gotta tell it again because that was the special cut, that was director's cut, and it had some stuff in there that was definitely not in any other version of the movie that I've ever seen. And my dad still remembers to this day. He said, I couldn't believe when the guy's holding his guts and he's looking at the thing, he's trying to hold his guts in and open the Jeep door. I'm like, I know, it's crazy. So that was a good time. But the first movie I actually ever remember seeing was Gremlins.
Oh, wow.
Because it was rated PG.
Weren't you like?
Yeah.
Something?
And yeah, I just remember being put in front of the TV and, oh, this is PG. Here you go. And like all the parents went off and did something else. And I was shitting my pants.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's stories of like when like my mom has a story of me being a toddler watching Bambi with her, and she's like, they were at the drive-in or whatever, or the theater, I can't remember what it was, and she's like, you wouldn't stop asking me where Bambi's mom was, and my tears were flowing, and I traumatized my mom with Bambi.
Oh wow, nice, nicely done.
So then they decided to traumatize me with Gremlins, so it's all good.
Well, there you go. Joseph, what's your earliest memory of watching a movie?
So I honestly could not remember. Like I had a vague recollection. It had to be something Disney because that's what my grandma always had me watching when I would stay with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to figure out what would 5-year-old Joseph have watched first. And so I was like, what Disney movies came out in 88? And none of those were the first movie I ever saw. And I was like, all right, let me keep going back further until I finally figured out, I think it came out in 79, but it was Robin Hood.
Oh, okay.
It's such a good movie.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It is a good one. The first thing I can remember, once again, like you were talking about, Ray, there are stories. There's a very infamous story of going to watch The Fox and the Hound, and when I thought that they had died, I basically just like jumped up and was like, "I'm going home. They're dead." I was like so distraught. Poor little little 5-year-old Eugene or whatever, like running up the I distinctively, but the first movie I distinctively remember, like 100% remember, was E.T. because it did scare the shit out of me. The corn scene,
Yeah,
boy. And then when I thought he was dead, I was just like inconsolable, apparently, in the theater.
yeah.
But I distinctively remember being in the theater to watch some of that. So
That was a great movie too. So
yeah. So did not hit with the boys though. Did not hit at all with the boys.
No, same with our kids.
Yeah. I think Logan kind of liked it, but it was around the Stranger Things era, so she was more Stranger Things. So.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Tonight's topic is honestly very self-serving for myself. So my boys are now 12. They've been 12 for a couple months now, and we have had what I'm referring to as the talk, the first round of the talk, as it were. And so I told them, I said, there's going to be, this is information that's going to change your life, because it has, in that you're going to go back and watch movies, or you're going to watch new movies, and you're going to catch a bunch more humor and catch a bunch of other stuff to it. And like the first thing they're like, well, like what, Dad? And I'm like Ghostbusters. And they're like, what? I'm like, guys, the whole scene where, you weren't quite sure what was going on with Ray and the ghost or whatever. And, remember they called Walter Peck, dickless. And of course that got a laugh. And then I was like, the whole scene with Gozer. Like, what? I'm like, grab your stick, heat them up, make them hard. He's like the faces. I'm just like, y'all are going to start catching these jokes and they're funny. And it's going to completely change things. Yeah. So I threw out, we had a couple of different ideas for a show topic, but I threw out there, what I'm realizing is now that they've hit a certain age where I think they can definitely handle more. Like, I was definitely steering away from, horror or thriller stuff, or definitely things that are a little more thought provoking. I'm trying, like I sit there, I'll go through, and someone will mention a movie and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to show the boys that. And I was failing myself by not writing it down. So I tasked everyone with, come up with a list of movies to show your kids. And we're going to go through this by kind of their age range. That's how we best decided to break it down. But I'm hoping, like, I've already sat down and made a fairly exhaustive list, but I'm hoping I'm going to get several other, people are going to say, oh, well, what about this movie? I'm going to go, it didn't make my list, but it's sure as heck going on there. Because I'd like to honestly start maybe doing maybe even a weekly movie night with the boys. I'd love it if I could get Christy involved. And I think the best way to do this would be, I've heard some people and talked to some people. Oh God, it's going to open up to a bunch of stuff, but letting, we go around and everyone gets to pick a movie each week. And so it's not just, hey, we've got a schedule. We're going to go through all these movies or whatever. Be like, all right, so this week is Mommy's pick. So what is Mommy picking or going to watch? And this week's Daddy's. So, it's hopefully, a little more thought provoking. I'm hoping the boys, if we do this, would pick stuff that Christy and I would be interested in. If not, I've got a feeling there's going to be quite a few nights it's going to be just me and the boys sitting there watching stuff that's like, oh God, why did you subject me to that? So, but we will see. That being said, I guess we'll obviously start off with like the earliest age. So, what was since you're the one that kind of categorized this, Ray? What were the age range you kind of came up with?
I went with like 6-ish to start because 6-ish is like when you start remembering movies.
No, yeah, fair enough.
So that's where I kind of started. So anything in the 6-ish range makes sense.
Okay.
Then I went 10-ish, which is like, okay, you're 9, 10, maybe 11. You can get some of these things because that's before you're 12, where it makes more sense to introduce more.
Right.
Then, yeah, you got your 12 and your 13 age, right? 12-ish. And then I've got teen after that. Because after that, it's pretty much anything goes.
Pretty much anything goes. It's whether or not you want to be in the room with them at the time.
We have a lot of recommendations. We are not watching this with you, but we recommend you watch it.
I know Quinn will love Game of Thrones when it's time for them to watch it.
Right.
I will not be in the room when they watch it.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, I've already run across a couple of things. I'm just kind of like, I think personality wise, you would enjoy this because it is a good thing. But you're right. I don't really want to be in the room when certain things happen. So,
I want to be nowhere near yet.
Yeah. So,
after it's all done, about the action that you enjoyed.
Exactly. There are certain things like I walk in and watch and like look at the TV and mommy and be like, "What are you watching?" So yeah, that's the type of stuff. Yeah. So fair enough. All right. Would anyone like to go first?
I can go first again.
All right, Kris. Let's start with youngest, like very youngest.
Okay, so Quinn kind of got sucked into whatever Logan was watching.
Fair enough. Yeah.
He didn't have a real preference for a really long time. So Logan went through a massive princess phase. I've talked about this before. It ended around 6, 7 years old. But in that, she had like a small pocket of movies that were on repeat to the point where she could quote the dialogue verbatim for certain speeches. The first one of that is The Little Princess. Yeah. So Little Princess is it's during I think the First World War in England. And it's just this girl who, it's like she was sent to this girls' school. Her father couldn't pay for the fees anymore. So she was essentially she was an orphan, and then they made her a maid in this manner. And anyways, it's just it's cute, it's sweet,
it's fantastic,
it's so good,
great casting, great acting.
But there's this one speech about how all girls are little princesses, and Logan at 4 in her Snow White Halloween costume just with such conviction.
All girls are princesses. Oh
yeah. So there was that. There was Cinderella, the OG Cinderella. Had to watch that.
Oh yeah.
And then Enchanted. How Does She Know? Also sung while in this Snow White costume. So there was that. And I think like those ones are pretty. I have Alice in Wonderland, which I think is pretty. I don't know, the Walt Disney one.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like that's pretty benign. Same with Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, although over 6 for sure. Anything younger than that, because like there was some stuff with Quinn, he would like run out of the room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the kid. Because like some of the stuff that I would even throw in there, it depends on the kid if they're. Well, yeah, it just honestly just depends on the kid. So.
Oh yeah, because we put Brave on one time, and it was years before he would watch because of the bear scene.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
He had a hard time with transformation scenes.
Yes,
where somebody was transforming from one to
another.
He's like, no.
Fair enough.
No,
especially the minions.
Yeah, that was a betrayal.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that's all.
Good deal. Ray, you want to go next?
Yeah, how can you not traumatize your kids without Land Before Time? So, like, Land Before Time is a must.
Okay.
That movie. And in fact, I just found out this week there was somebody who had the makers of the movie had consulted a child psychologist to show them the movie first, and it actually expanded one of the side characters. So one of the old dinosaurs comes up and talks to Littlefoot afterwards and was like, yeah, she died, and she won't be coming back, but she'll live within your heart forever. And like, if you remember her, and like that was from the dialogue with the child psychologist that they had that conversation with, and put that in there. So it was a good way for them to. It is a brutal movie.
So bad.
I like Matilda. I think Matilda is a safe one to watch with the kids.
Cute.
It's fun.
It is a cute.
I tried to stick with more like lighthearted.
Except for Land Before Time.
Well, yeah, but I was trying to think of like movies that the parents don't mind watching as well. So again, Home Alone I think is okay for a 6-year-old to watch.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the comedy is going to go over their head, but it's still fun to watch. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is that way as well, where it's that fun. It's fun enough for the kids, but Parent Trap, another one. American Tail, because how can you not have that classic?
Oh, that's heartbreaking too.
Oh yeah, another one. But and then Babe, because
it's cute.
It's a really cute movie, and the least amount of dialogue in a movie, but well done. Like it's
really cute.
So yeah,
good deal. Joseph.
So I'm going to preface this as the only childless person here. This is very doing it by decade would have been fantastic. Doing it by age breakdown, I'm just going to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Well,
let you know.
That's why this is also fun doing this specifically with this group, because we have Joseph, who has not gone through raising a kid yet. I'm in the middle of it, and y'all are getting close on the tail end. So hopefully, if we throw some stuff out there and y'all are just like,
we have
might wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Definitely appreciate the help.
So based on what I wrote down, of everything that I wrote down, the only 3 that I would be comfortable showing someone that is like 6-7 years old, it would be The Sandlot.
Fantastic.
That would be great.
Yep.
Space Jam. Because
Space Jam's a great one.
Yeah.
And Hook. Get the Peter Pan perspective there.
Yeah.
Is that y'all's favorite version of Peter Pan?
I love Hook.
Oh, Hook's my favorite. Yeah.
I love Hook.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorites.
We were kids. We were like 8 or 9 when that came out.
I had Sandlot and Hook moved more into the 10 age, only because I think they would appreciate it more. I don't mind introducing it around the 6 age, depending on the kid. But like, especially like the Hook scene when the kids get taken and stuff like that, that was a bit scary. Rufio dying is another one.
Yeah. Part of the thing I think is going to happen with us, especially, is that Elaine and I are very seasonal with our movies. Mm-hmm. So, like during October, we watch Halloween stuff, and like we'll watch like spring things. And so when baseball season starts, I watch all the baseball movies. And so of all the baseball movies that I do watch, The Sandlot's probably the only one that I could show.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I'm not going to show a 6-year-old Major League, although that would be really funny.
A lot of that.
That's a good one. But yeah, no, I don't mind those ones at all. Those are fantastic. They're on my list as well. So.
Cool.
I'm kind of just scanning through my list here. I would pretty much any of the Disney stuff, of course, would be fine for that age. But like you said, there could be some scenes of some different ones that might be a little intense. Friggin' Toy Story 3 at the very end there before they get saved. Like that was intense for an adult. It was just like, this is not how we're going out, right? Like this is. And y'all, of course, seen that video where someone like edited the movie and showed it to their parent and like went to fade to black there, and they're just like, "Is that it? Is that how this movie?" And I'm just like, "Oh, you are a cruel bastard." But yeah, pretty much any of the Disney stuff. I'm looking at my list here, and I think the boys have seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's an interesting one because you could probably show it young and it would be fine. Yeah. And then you could show it older and it's going to play completely different. So that might be fun to watch with them again, honestly. Let's see here. I'm seeing a bunch of stuff on here that I think would be perfect, especially for their age now. But just going through here. Hold on. Sorry. Like I said, I didn't really have them done this way, so I'm going to have to kind of scan through. Plus, I was also thinking more so of their current age. So, But if we're going to talk about traumatizing a small child, then maybe we should go ahead and show them Homeward Bound. So that one,
18-year-old, FYI.
that'll mess up Lainey, who's in the next room right now. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
Messed her up.
Yeah, she was so mad at us.
yeah, I also remember watching when I was really young in elementary school. So I would have been earlier than 10, watching Old Yeller. I remember watching that in school, and it was just like, what? What? Like, yeah. And Alex is really, I say Nick's more sensitive, but Alex is, I think, more in tune to animals, and I think that would mess him up more than, yeah. So
yeah. I had a thought when you said Toy Story 3, Black. The lyrics change, right? You had a friend in me.
All right. What was the next age range you had? It was like what, 9, 10, somewhere around there, right?
Yeah,
okay.
10.
Okay. You know what? Let me throw out one more thing out there, and this is definitely going to go under the questionable, because I know my boys were around that age when I showed it to them, but I made a mistake in doing so. I was under peer pressure by my nephew, who was a huge Star Wars fan.
Nope.
And I wanted to show the boys, I wanted them to at least see the first trilogy, because if the Vader reveal had been messed up for them by my nephew, I might have killed him, because I was like, these are my boys. They're going to watch this with me. And it was a little too intense for them. And it actually may have soured Star Wars on them for me. And luckily, we started watching the Clone Wars, and it definitely was a redemption thing. So any parent that's out there listening, and I've told this to other parents as well, I'm like, definitely share the thing that you're interested in, but don't push it. Like, maybe just, oh, hey, what are you watching, Dad? Oh, I'm just watching this Star Trek movie. It's this cool movie. Do you want to watch it with me? And doing it that way, instead of, hey, we're going to watch this really awesome movie, and set it up and just be like, nope, and it just fall flat. So
yeah, The Matrix for me. I've never forced the kids to watch The Matrix. I keep asking them if they want to watch it. I've put it on. They have no interest. I know Quinn, once he sees like the first little, just got to get past that first little bit. I think he would really enjoy the story.
Yeah.
It's a nostalgia thing, because we remember the new technology, and it's like
it set so many. It set action films in a different direction.
Yes, it did.
And
it did.
So, but it's okay.
It is what it is.
Slickers. I'm the only one in the house that'll enjoy City Slickers, but that's okay.
All right. So 9, 10.
Yeah, 9 and 10.
Tweens.
Yeah,
9, 10. Okay. Do you want to go first, Kris, with your 9-ish, 10-ish?
This is where things open up. Like,
right.
This is so much more, because then, the jump scares become less scary. Things like that. They start to understand a little bit more, but then there's enough that they still miss, so you don't feel too bad. So for me, Fern Gully is one of my favorite childhood movies. Me and my sister can quote that thing verbatim. It is so funny. I tried showing it to the kids, and Quinn got so freaked out about hexes. Watch it, and Logan thinks it's boring. But that one, it's really funny, because it talks about the environment, and Robin Williams is a friggin' little bat that used to be in a science lab, so he's got electrodes sticking out of his head that ping every time, and he
picks radio stations.
So Fern Gully's one. Goofy movies, really funny. And then there's Ants and/or Bug Life. I feel like those two are interchangeable.
Bug Life is better than Ants.
Well, I was going to say Bug's Life, I think, is a better quality movie. Better,
but they came out at the same time, and they're pretty much the same. So, whatever. And then Over the Hedge, I feel like, is a really, really underrated.
I've never seen that one.
It's so
it's good.
So funny. Good. It's hilarious. And
still worth a watch with your kids. Your
for sure, because you guys live in the suburbs. It's perfect. But it has a really great soundtrack. It's done by this band called Ben Folds 5. It's so good.
more specifically, you're in a new
You're in a
subdivision,
new subdivision.
and that makes sense to the movie.
For the movie. It's
Right, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And then you have like Shrek. Apparently, anything past Shrek 2 is not worth it, according to my kids.
According to Logan, yeah.
2, 4, and 6 are fantastic movies.
I like them all. I think they all have their merit, but like,
Yeah,
they have very strong feelings about it. So
Fair enough.
Robots is really funny. It's got a lot of adult
Robin
humor
Williams, yeah.
because Robin Williams is in it, and he just like riffs and stuff, and it's got fart jokes, which is funny for tweeners and stuff.
everyone, honestly, let's be honest.
And I think if you've got like a younger tween, I think Horton Hears a Who is really sweet. I think it's a sweet movie because I think Jim Carrey is Horton. It's really cute.
Yep, it's a good one.
Yeah, I have like most of them are for tweens that I have on here because I have like Toy Story and Rise of the Guardians.
Oh, that's a good.
That's one of my.
That is a good one.
Super good.
Definitely around the holidays. For sure. Yeah,
around the holidays. I have Oliver and Company, which should have been for the 6-year-olds because that's fun. That's got Billy Joel in it. That's classic. And then Quinn got really into the Wallace and Gromit claymation.
Mhm.
So Chicken Run and Flushed Away were big hits when he was around that age. Yeah.
Nice.
Those are that's all that I had pretty much.
Good deal.
Oh yes, Meet the Robinsons.
Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah, that one's a funny one.
So good. Yeah,
That's
it's really
nice.
good.
Yeah.
All right, Ray, what you got?
Okay, so I've got, because you got to traumatize your kids. Never Ending Story.
Love the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, had to go with that one. If your kid's into like robots and tech, Short Circuit I think is a good one for that age range.
They have not seen it yet. It's on my list of things for me to show them. And here's the cool thing. So in the con that's coming up here in a couple of weeks here in Austin, what's his name? The main character in the first one.
Steve Gutenberg.
Steve Gutenberg's going to be there.
Oh wow!
Cool.
That's
The voice of Johnny Five is going to be there.
no way.
A working Johnny Five robot is going to be there. I'm going to lose my shit. I'll be honest with you. So yeah, like I've seen lots of R2s, and they're always cool. R2s are always awesome to see in real life.
Yes,
I've never seen a Johnny Five. Yeah. So
that's when you and I talked about building robots, like that's the first one I ever think of like getting a Johnny Five to work. Because
that'd be awesome.
Then I also have Mrs. Doubtfire, because like good age range for that one.
Yep.
I said Ghostbusters as well, because I think the Ghostbusters series is 10, 11 is okay. Like you said, the older stuff's good. Goonies, because who doesn't love a good treasure hunt?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
E.T. I think is fair around that 10-ish mark, because Elliot's around that age as well.
Yeah.
Back to the Future trilogy, because hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mighty Ducks. Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. I haven't watched Uncle Buck with him yet. I've got that. I'm adding that one to the list now.
The Great Outdoors. And The Karate Kid. Kris was.
I thought.
39?
Well, I saw like the first one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think I was like 40.
Yeah.
Which one did you see when you were 40?
Karate
The
Kid.
Karate Kid.
The Karate Kid. Okay, yeah.
So I was like, well,
I
I'm
liked
gonna
it.
put it on and we'll see what you. And then I just put it on for myself because she wasn't really paying attention. Next thing you know, she's paying attention more, and she's like, "This is actually a really good movie." I'm like,
It's good. It was the chemistry between Ralph Macchio and Elizabeth Shue that got me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're good together.
Yeah.
And then the second movie, she's not in it.
Nope.
Pissed me off. I'm not watching it.
Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my 10-ish.
Nice.
Mhm.
All right, Joseph, what do you got for us?
I also have The Great Outdoors. I feel that'd be a good one.
Hell yeah.
I almost went into this whole like John Candy kind of direction, and then I pulled it back a little bit because some of those are not good for kids.
Throw them on the train. No, that's
no. That one's for the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is when they're older.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Only specifically only because of the airport scene. with the most F-bombs dropped in a minute in like movie history.
Yeah.
You know, unless we skip that part, then I don't know. But there are a few other scenes in that movie that maybe not so much. Hello, Barley. The Three Amigos, only because I think they would think it's wacky and funny that way.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm adding that right now.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
And then a little bit. Christmas Vacation for the same reason.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Holy shit, where's the title?
Let's see here. Just kind of going through here. I think Big would be fine at this point.
Yeah.
Big would be a good one.
Yeah.
The Indiana Jones movies, at least the first one. Like at this point, I'm like, because I've already shown them the first one. Now, yes, here's the other thing that, and we didn't really talk about too much. I also tried to prepare the boys. So like we would talk ahead of time. Like Nicholas, when he was young, like when he was like 6, he really wanted to see Jaws because he was really big into sharks. And I'm like, listen, dude, this movie has scared a lot of people. I said, so let's watch the making of it first so you can see how they do the shots. And then once he saw that, oh, it's big mechanical shark, everything's fake, whatever. And in fact, before the show, we were talking. I sat down with my brother-in-law and my boys, and we watched the second Friday the 13th movie. And right after like the first kill, which was very, very simple, it's literally this: he comes up behind her and he sticks. It looks like an ice pick like into her head. And I looked at him. I looked at Alex and I went, so how do you think they did it? And he goes, what? I'm like, how do you think they did that shot? Because remember, this was made in 1982. There was no CGI. And doing that, talking about how the movies are made and how, especially these older movies, I think really starts to pull them kind of out of it and make them think about it and maybe even appreciate it more. Because he goes, it's probably because like, was it like a blade that went in? I was like, yes, that was probably it. Nick comes up with, did they make like a head that looked really realistic out of cake? And I'm just like, dude, that's like only been around for like the last 5 or 10 years. Like the whole cake, is it cake thing? So
no, but they did melt the guy's face off using that technique.
And see, that's why I'm bringing this up, because in Indiana Jones, I had shown them, I think we had watched the precursor, we had watched the making of it or whatever. And I was just like, this was really intense when I was a kid. And even then they were watching them just like that. And I'm just like, shut up.
You can get it as a candle now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've seen it. And one of my Ghostbusters has it. And he's just like, this is the best thing ever. I've wanted this since I was like a kid. Ever since I found out how it was made. I'm trying to decide. Now, granted, like I said, my boys are 12, so they're technically kind of in the next grouping, but The Princess Bride, I think they're in the right age for this. So I'm going to hold off on that one until the next one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is also, I think, a great time to, if they haven't already started being introduced to most of the superhero movies, because as long as it's not overly intense, and they're okay with it, I think they're fine. Most of the superhero movies are probably okay. My boys just really aren't superhero kids. Like we've watched everything up to, the last one with Thanos, and they just really haven't had any interest to keep going on. So they enjoyed the movies. They just, it just really wasn't their thing. But I still want to, like, we were going through watching movies. I was just like, oh, I need to show you Batman. They're like Batman? I'm like, yes, you're going to like it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. The Wizard. I think I want to show them The Wizard just so that they can see. I'll be like, if you want to talk about a movie that's a commercial for something, this is it, guys. Let's see here. I'm kind of just going through here.
Would you consider The Last Starfighter?
I have it on there. Yes. I don't know if I've shown the boys yet, but yeah, The Last Starfighter is on there. I think they would actually really enjoy it.
Yeah. I was thinking for 12 more.
Yeah. Let's see here. And like some of the movies I have here, even I'm just like, y'all need to be a little bit older. So I'm just kind of going through here. If they haven't seen it by now already, I always considered Pixar up here, and what's it called? What's the other? DreamWorks kind of further down here, and then DreamWorks started knocking some out the park. And the first movie I thought that they completely knocked out of the park, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
That movie had no business being anywhere as good as it is. How to Train Your Dragon is also frigging fantastic. Let's see here. So I'm still going through. Like I said, I feel like most of those movies would be fine. Pirates of the Caribbean. I think this would be a good age to start introducing it. Once again, as long as it's not too much for them, like specifically like the zombie ghost or whatever, but as long as they're okay with that idea, like I said, I've introduced my boys to Ghostbusters a long time ago, so that type of stuff in a movie they're fine with. So
yeah, I think I would slot it more in the 12, but
it depends on your kid. Yeah,
it really depends on the kid. So
yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of which, let's go ahead and move on to the next grouping. That was kind of the 12 and above, right there, Ray?
Yeah, 12, and then I've got teen after that. So
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go with your
Well,
order?
I was just trying to think of what our kids, because that's when their tastes started to diverge, really, was when they were around that age.
This is my biggest list, by the way. 12 is like my biggest list.
Because that's
fair enough. Okay.
The most stuff from when you were a kid that you feel comfortable showing them, because I don't know, like all the shit we watched when we were 12.
Yeah.
Most of that was not appropriate at all. So it's this weird age range. Because like I told you before the show, like I watched Pet Sematary 2 when I was 12. Like I was watching creepy stuff, and I don't like horror. I am not a horror movie person. And Quinn's not either. So that whole branch of stuff is out. I also don't like gore. Logan's she's more curious that way. Like she'll watch, but I think now she's like, no, I had that phase and I'm done. Because didn't she watch It?
Yeah, we watched It.
Yeah.
She begged, she was going to go into like this horror phase as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll watch it with you. And we watched It, and she got through it, and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I think we did watch the second one at one point, and she's like, yeah, I'm not. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. So she just, I feel like that's like the 12, 13's really when they start.
Right. And I think that's what Nick is kind of going through right now is this is an interesting idea, kind of being scared a little bit. Let me explore this.
Yeah, I think it's like around that age because, like you're getting older, you're grade 7, grade 8. So you're getting, that much more mature and you're starting to understand things better. But so I really feel like that's the age where you start figuring out what kind of genre movies you really like.
And I actually started listing off like if they're into this, watch this movie. If they're into this, watch like it. Kind of started slotting that in there too.
Because when I was 12, I remember 12. I liked watching Casper with Christina Ricci. I remember watching Mermaids. That was with Cher and Winona Ryder. Yeah. Edward Scissorhands was a big one that I really liked.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I really like that one. And then that's like around the time when Lion King came out. That's more of a teen thing.
I know it's a teen.
But, like that was like 93, 94 when these movies came out. Toy Story had just come out when I was 12.
Yeah.
And so that was like amazing, that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park would be really good around this age too, I think. For me, because I was kind of those kid. I hated jump scares. I didn't like being scared. So Jurassic Park was kind of like, that was a series I could go and enjoy it.
Right. And also it's not so much the sequels, but that first one, you're old enough you can start to grasp the idea of this is a cool science idea that
and I think that's why I liked it so much. He's got Beetlejuice down. Beetlejuice for me. So Beetlejuice, I remember watching Heathers, which is also kind of creepy around 13. That's the Winona Ryder one. I got really into Christian Slater around that age. So I watched like Untamed Heart and Pump Up the Volume, things like that.
Interview with a Vampire.
I gotta add that one. That's another good one. I did enjoy that.
That one started the long hair Brad Pitt phase for me, along with Legends of the Fall. But yeah, it's sort of, you're also coming of age too. So that's sort of where you're starting to be like, oh, well, hello, character. That's awakening things in me.
Yeah, no, right.
So,
which I have a story about for one of the movies that I've picked here.
Yeah, but I think that's also the age where you start like identifying with characters like really strongly too. Because I remember Lydia Dietz and Beetlejuice. And all of the Addams movies, like especially with Wednesday Addams, I was like, I wanted to be part of those families because I was like, they are fucking creepy, but it's amazing. I love it. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Ray.
Okay, my list is huge. So do we want to take one at a time here for the three of us?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay? I've got a ton. So
let's hit it.
I don't want to take.
I didn't have any past 10. I realized
she made them up as she was going.
I did. Yeah, that was off the top of my head.
Well, you can definitely chime in if you're just like, yeah or no or yeah.
So I'm a romantic comedy fan. I'm one of those guys that enjoy that kind of thing. But if you're just era-wise, I love 13 going on 30 for kids like in around that 12 age. I think it's a good fit. So that's my first pick for 13 going on 30.
Joseph?
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Took it from me.
I've already watched Spaceballs with the boys. I need to watch it again because I watched it pre-12, pre the talk. And so now a lot of that's going to be like, wait, what? Like, yeah, I think they already kind of understood what the swords were, but I think they'll definitely be like, dude, Dad, look at it. Yeah, I know exactly what it is. By the way, did you see that they are supposedly working on a sequel?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know, but I'll be honest with you. When Hulu did that History of the World Part 2, God, some of it was so fucking funny. I'm just like, you know what? If Mel Brooks is okay with it, and he's because everyone fucking wants to work with him. That's the thing. I think a lot of people are just like, I don't know how much longer we're going to have the man. We've got to get this done now. So I'm just like, you know what? Go for it. If it's not great, oh, well, we'll just watch the first one. But yeah, let's go for it.
And there's enough Star Wars that they can pull from. Like,
hell yeah.
Spaceballs movie. So
I still want them to officially announce it as Spaceballs 3, The Search for 2.
So do I. Yep.
Let's see here. First one on my list.
Mel Brooks is 97.
Yeah.
He was born in 1926. Dude,
we gotta get this shit going.
Get it done now.
Wow.
Yeah. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yep, that was on there.
And Bogus Journey. You got to do.
Oh yeah, well you have to do both of them. So.
And you got to. It's the trilogy. You got to finish it off.
Yeah, I would probably not, because I'm sure they would ask, was there a second one? Yes, there is. Is there a third one? Yes, there is. So, yeah. All right, Ray.
Father of the Bride, because Father of the Bride is such a good movie, especially if you do have a daughter and
it's really cute.
I could definitely see that.
Logan's cried.
All right, Joseph.
So this is where I think I differed from you guys. I would show Secret of the Ooze when they were younger, and then save the original for when they were 12.
Okay, that's fair enough.
That's
a little bit older, because it's a different movie. Like, it is a complete movie.
Yeah.
I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in this era, like the first and the second one. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the kids were around that age when we showed it to them. Maybe.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're fine. Like I said, so this is the age range that I was kind of thinking this, and maybe a little further ahead. The Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
I think they would love the Lost Boys. So
good one.
Especially the Frog Brothers. Who, at that age, who doesn't want to fucking be the Frog Brothers? You know what I'm saying?
That's really good. Yeah. I would say like that kind of mythology. Like if they like the vampire stuff, then yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer too.
Oh yeah, that would actually be a good one too. So
yeah, because if they like the Lost Boys, then they would like that one too. Probably.
Yeah. All right, Ray, what's your next one?
Apollo 13.
Yes, on the list.
They like space. Apollo 13 is a must.
Also, Independence Day. If they like the space, Independence Day.
Yeah, I already showed them Independence Day. I didn't show them the second one because I haven't even seen the second one.
No.
Yeah, I don't need to do that. All right, Joseph.
I would take the same approach that you guys did with like show a making of and creature effects and all this kind of stuff. But the first Alien, I think, would be something I would show. I
actually had Aliens too, because when it was on HBO, but it's more a sci-fi movie than a horror movie.
Horror, that's fair.
So, but no, I think as long as you see what it look, because when you see the monster, when you see the aliens like in well lit areas and it's not moving around, it's like it looks like a bunch of trash bags someone's taped together. It's not that scary. Of course, when you watch the movie, you're just like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
So, but no, Alien/Aliens is on my list. So good call on that one. Let's see here. I'm thinking for the creepiness factor. And I never watched the series they did on Netflix, but I watched from The Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah.
So
I never actually watched it.
No, I never actually saw it.
it is weird. It's just it's a weird movie. I just want to show them, just be like, okay, listen, hey, remember Muppets? They're really cool. Yeah, this came out of the same dude's brain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ray?
So for Logan kind of got an awakening crush on this. 3 Men and a Baby.
Tom Selleck.
She's like, Tom Selleck's like, oh.
I was
nice.
All of a sudden it's like, who's this? And you're like, this is Tom Selleck. And you're right.
Okay, so let me ask you this. We're gonna pause here for just a second.
Oh.
Who was the first person you remember like had the awakening? You're like, oh, this is a nice person to look at. Like I'm makes me feel kind of funny. Okay, I'll tell you right now. Mine is just a very classic geek one. Return of the Jedi, Princess Leia. Like, okay. You love Princess Leia, and then when you see her in the bikini, you're just like, ooh, okay, yeah. that's a thing. So,
I remember having crushes on different characters, but though I'll never forget. I think I was in grade 5 or grade 6. And we had to talk about it. There was this, you're stuck on an island with anybody in the world.
Yeah, you were in grade
6. And we were with our parents as well. And I don't remember why. But anyway, so we were explaining as to who, it was like a project that we were doing. And I said Cindy Crawford.
Fair enough.
She was just, I don't know. She's funny. It was like,
no, fair enough, dude.
Climbing the rope and gym class.
Kris, do you remember who your first person was?
It was sort of like I had a type, so it was long hair.
Mm-hmm.
So like Johnny Depp, Christian Slater, Brad Pitt, especially Brad Pitt in Legends of the Fall.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Cruise had long hair for a little bit there, and I had a thing for long, and I don't know why the long hair, but long hair.
You like what you like. You can't. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, like it was just.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Joseph.
I guess the first celebrity crush that I really had, probably not the most what everybody would have said. Jennifer Connelly.
Okay.
Oh, but like she's stunning. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I get that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So who had just mentioned a movie?
I did.
Okay.
3 Men and
a Little Baby.
3 Men. Okay. Yeah. Very good pick.
Yeah.
I think the boys would find that hilarious. So
it is. It's so good. It's still one of Logan's favorites.
Yeah.
And we introduced it to her more of
that.
Like,
tweener. Yeah.
Okay.
And then now we look at it and we're like, okay, so the architect is carrying both the actor and the cartoonist in that apartment. No, but those two aren't paying rent. It's all the architect, because that is a dope ass apartment. There's no way those other two are contributing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Shape or form. No, that's the
architect. Joseph, what's your next one?
This is when I would start to introduce the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This would be a good time to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And a great conversation of how do you think they do that shot?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if they're anything like me, making the joke that Gandalf sent everyone away so he could gain all the XP fighting the Balrog.
Next time I watch it with them, I will have to bring that up. They're going to love that joke.
That's good.
That's fantastic. The only reason I thought about this one was because Nicholas, I was catching up on my YouTube videos, and this maker I did made a room. He did his part of his room, part of his shop is a room that like has his 3D printers and stuff, and he did it Tron theme. And Nicholas is like, that looks cool, and I'm just like, okay, we need to watch Tron. And the second one, I said, the first one you're going to look at and laugh. I said, but it's a very cool aesthetic. I said, the second one you're going to be like, wow, that looks cool. And I'm like, I need to show them Tron. I think they would both really enjoy it. So
they're still working on the next one too.
Mm-hmm.
I really want them to. Like, I really liked both of those movies. Like, you know, so, that is a big cat. That is a big
trying
cat.
to use the charger cable of the laptop.
It's all good. Ray, what's your next one?
Kindergarten Cop, because it is fucking cool.
We just showed that to them like recently.
Yeah, it was one that we forgot about for a while, and it was like, oh, we got to show them that one. Logan loved it.
Oh,
yeah.
And see, that's why we're making this list, is because, like I said, it fell through. You didn't remember it. You didn't think about it. I'm sure you probably would have introduced it earlier, but now you're like, oh no, we got to catch up on this.
Yeah, that's why I'm throwing this 12 group, because I think it definitely fits.
Yeah, I didn't have it on my list. It's definitely going on the list.
And they're just old enough that they'll get the humor.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
because the little kids didn't get the humor at the time. So
oh no, yeah. Joseph.
I lost my train of thought. This is where I think my list starts to diverge on whether or not depends on what they've learned in school, kind of thing.
Okay.
I think I was 13 when I first saw Weird Science, and I was like, I think that would be really cool.
Yes. I was about that age.
Yeah. Weird Science might not be bad. In fact, I'm going to add it to the list here. Because that one, I think Mommy would watch with us as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If you're gonna watch that one, you can throw Bedazzled in there too.
Oh yeah.
All right, this next one I'm throwing out there because I'm actually curious as to your thoughts. Like I said, we've had the talk 1.0, so they've and they're starting to pick up on some of that humor. I don't know if I need to wait a little bit longer, but Clue.
I haven't seen Clue. I don't have no idea.
You have not seen Clue yet?
No.
Holy shit! We need to do a watch party.
It is. I'm pretty sure it's free on Amazon Prime.
I don't know.
I'm gonna warn you. I think we started to try and watch it.
Oh, and then we had to stop because
I think we had to stop.
We had to stop because we were like, "Oh, we love Eugene, but I can't watch this."
Oh my god, it's so good!
Fantastic!
It is it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
I know.
I
think we have to give it another shot.
I think we lasted about 20 minutes.
But
we had to shut
oh, then it hadn't even started yet. Y'all haven't even gotten to the good. Like y'all barely got the people introduced.
Maybe not even all the characters yet.
No, yeah, maybe not even all the characters at this point.
We'll have to try again.
Well, like I said, we will have to try again.
The one on Amazon Prime is also the extended that has the 3 different endings.
That's the only way you can watch
it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say Clue, but if not, then I'm thinking I may also show them another one I'll throw out there, The Abyss.
Great movie.
Yeah. And this is one of those things I can say. This is like the beginning of CGI. Oh, yeah. Like literally, this is on the very cusp of starting to use CGI in movies.
He wrote the code.
Yes, exactly. So I think if nothing else, they would appreciate it for that. So because it would be like that was the only CGI part. The rest of this, they all filmed practical.
Yeah.
Especially when be like, what about the rat? Yeah, like that was all practical effects, guys. So, what's your next one, Ray?
I'm gonna go with this one. So horrors, but especially if they like musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Little Shop of Horrors.
I hate that movie.
I've never seen it. I just know it's got Steve Martin in it.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't know. You know what? It may have honestly just been I was at the wrong age to watch it to appreciate it being a musical. I may have been at that age and been like, "This is stupid." They're just singing constantly. So I may need to go back and watch it again.
It's a musical. So if your kids enjoy musicals and they're like curious about musicals and horror,
that's a very specific.
Yeah.
Kid.
It really is.
That's Jen.
But they are out there.
As a child.
No shit.
But anyway, it's because it is entertaining. Rick Moranis is in it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Joseph?
So then the next one I have is specifically because it like tickles all the right parts of my brain. So if my kid is anything like me, where they like the sci-fi futuristic stuff that is very grounded in this is real. Like if we had just this one extra little piece of technology to get there, we could do all of these things. The Martian.
Oh my God, yes! I need to show him The Martian.
It's a great.
It's a really good movie. I think we started. I think Quinn was.
Yeah, in around there. 14.
Yeah,
because that's a whole lot of, kid. Like this is real. Like this is the real science behind it. This is the Andy. What's his name?
Andy Weir.
Weir.
Yeah,
a lot of research on this.
Yes.
Yep.
I really hope they do a Hail Mary. Anyway,
They do. They're filming it. It's going to come out in 2026. Because Ryan Gosling's going to be Grace, though. Ryland Grace.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked that.
Nope.
I wouldn't have picked it, but he's a good enough actor. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping he sounds intelligent because he's got a face. So we'll see.
I'm very curious how they're going to do the alien. Anyway,
that's why I want to watch it.
God, I hope they do it right.
I'm
gonna throw this out there. Once again, like I said, I've already I watched the first Friday the 13th with the boys. I really want to show them the first Nightmare on Elm Street, specifically because I want them to watch it, and then immediately after, I want to force them to watch the making of it, so they can be like, they built an entire room and turned it upside down, and I'm yes, like this is movie making magic right here, guys. Like the other thing is, and the reason I say that is it will also depend on them, but if it holds up as well as the Friday the 13th movie did, they're going to be laughing more than anything else. My biggest concern will just be, boobs and sex. Like that's going to be the problem. The rest of it, they'll just be like, Dad, that wasn't scary at all. I'll be like, yeah, shut up. So, because I was even trying to explain it to him when we were watching the Friday the 13th today. I was like, now keep in mind, guys, like you would have had to have gone to a movie theater.
Yeah.
It would have been dark. You would have been expecting it to be scared. So you're already in that mindset. I said, we closed the blinds, but it's still bright. It's daylight. You're watching it with your family and friends. We're joking.
Yeah.
Like this is not the right thing. I said, but even then, it doesn't hold up very well. I get it, guys. So, all right, Ray, what's your next one?
If your kid's into like music and dance, I have Save the Last Dance because it was it was a really
like a teen rom-com.
teen rom-com, but you can get into the preteen, still enjoy it. So
I have a good one too. If they do like creepy, Sleepy Hollow, the Johnny Depp one with Christina Ricci.
Great pick.
I can't remember if I watched it with them yet, but it's definitely on my list. I love that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I love the aesthetic and everything. But that's like as creepy as I can get.
I want to say I've shown it to him because I was like, I specifically remember telling Nick, the guy who played him, that's Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah. Look at the way he handles the axes. Like he's a badass. So, but I can't remember if I've watched it with him or not. Or hell, they may not even remembered it. But
I
feel like
that's a Halloween must in our house.
But I wouldn't do it
younger
than 12. I would younger than that. No, you have to really know your kids.
Yeah.
Younger than that.
Ray, did you have another one? Or no, Ray, then Kris, then all right, Joseph. What's your next one?
This one is mostly just because I'm hoping that they will also be very much into board games, but I would show them the newest Dungeons and Dragons movie.
We actually went and saw it.
Yeah.
So good. Yes.
Yeah. Really
fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's the newest movie on my list, to be honest.
I just took with the 80s and the 90s. I'm not going to lie. Because my lists were getting big. I'm like, no.
I did put 2000 stuff in there because, like I said, my boys were born in 2012. So technically anything in the 2000s is still before their time. So, yeah. I'd have to go back and rewatch it just to make sure. I kind of look up a little stuff on there, but I think they would probably also enjoy Big Trouble in Little China. It's just wacky enough that they'd be like, "What is going on here?" So
it's been a long time since
I've never watched that one. That's
it's been a long time for me. Yeah. So because there's literally three guys. One of them basically is like Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Like he's got this big hat and he's riding in on a lightning bolt. It's kind of batshit crazy. So I think they would enjoy that.
Here's one. Mortal Kombat.
Oh hell yeah! No.
Quinny loved it.
The first one.
You know what? Maybe I should show them the first Mortal Kombat. So I keep seeing these reels right now. It's like, do you remember as a kid when your brain exploded and it's the trailer and it's when Scorpion and Sub-Zero walk in? Because I know my brain like blew out the back of my head when I saw that. I was like, oh my God. So
yep. That was awesome. I threw Jumanji on there because I think Jumanji is a good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That age group.
In fact, we've watched I think the first one with The Rock and
Kevin Hart.
I don't know if we watched the second one. I need to go back and show them the first one though.
Yeah, the first one, you got to watch it because then they do pay a little bit of homage in the second one.
Yeah, they do, which I loved. I love the fact that they did that. So
me too.
Yeah.
All right, who's next? Ray. Oh,
Joseph, you got any more?
Yeah.
All right, Joseph, what you got?
Everything else is
okay.
Not good for 12-year-olds.
Okay, fair enough. Top Gun. I think, there's kind of another one love scene, but other than that, like it's a bunch of dudes running around with planes. Like it might be.
Yeah.
I might hold off a little one on that one. So
just that love scene's kind of like long.
Yeah.
And
well, I'll be honest with you, I'll probably just be like, bloop, bloop. So
yeah, fair.
We tried watching it with the kids one time, and then we forgot how long the love scene was. I just thought it was a fade to black, and I'm just like, it keeps going. Why is it still going?
Yeah, good old ladies.
If you're gonna throw that one in there, you might as well throw Days of Thunder in there too.
All right, what's your next one, Ray?
Now and Then. Great movie for nostalgia. It has that Sandlot feel. Focused on the four girls
in the 70s.
In the 70s, and then it was one great soundtrack. It was one of Rosie O'Donnell's. It was one of the movies that she made after A League of Their Own, which is another one that should be on my list. Right now.
Hell yeah, that's a great movie.
League of Their Own is fantastic as well. But I remember hearing an interview from her where she watched A League of Their Own. And then she learned a lot from the other actors, and so she's really subdued in Now and Then, and you can see that influence in there.
Thinking about a little Sword and Sorcery, maybe Red Sonja, because I don't think there's any real nudity or sex in it. It's mainly just good old sword and sorcery running around with giants, blades and stuff.
Bridget Nielsen, she's like 60 tall. Is that her?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've never watched it.
Red
Sonja. Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
What's your next one, Ray?
It's like a barbarian.
I think everything else is kind of more teen now because, like I said, I only stuck with the 80s and 90s. I didn't get too much in the other ones. So
okay, I'm just gonna run through a couple here real quick. Well, I have some. Let me throw out some things that are questionable. We'll see what y'all think.
Okay.
They've asked me about James Bond.
Which one? Yeah.
And the one I want to start with is the one that got me into Bond, and that would be GoldenEye.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah.
It's just the one scene kind of when there's this you don't even see anything during the sex scene where she like crushes him with her legs. But like the whole like when he's driving the fucking tank through the city and stuff. They're gonna fucking lose their minds, and so I think GoldenEye is gonna be coming up here.
They've also played the game.
Oh yeah, that's very true too. Yeah. I'm thinking. I know it's super rough, but especially Nicholas, is really into World War II stuff. I'm thinking maybe Saving Private Ryan.
That's
a bit extreme.
Really depends on the kid.
Yeah. So
you did really, like if Nick you think could handle that, it's like
that opening is.
Oh yeah, the opening is
very real.
Very real. But I remember watching because we have to remember how old we were when we watched stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but I remember watching Schindler's List when I was 15. I've never seen it since, and I watched it by myself.
Oh my God, you watched it by yourself?
Yeah, but I was 15, so I have to remember. It affected me in that like you hurt and you're sad, but like, and you're like that's a one time. Oh yeah, and I even told like Christy doesn't remember much of it, and even brought that one up, and I was just like, I don't know if I can watch that again with y'all. Like I've only ever seen it once, and I don't know if I can do another go. Like that was. Saving Private Ryan it's good.
I think at this point, the reason why I think Schindler's List and even maybe Saving Private Ryan, even as extreme as it is there's part of me that wants to deglorify because they've been playing, war games for quite a bit. And I think seeing it that real is like, oh wow, like I'm playing a game of it, but it's like this is what it really was like, and it gives you a little more grounding and respect for it. That's why I'm kind of playing with the idea. Anyway, Deep Impact. I want to show them. I think I want to hold back on Deep Impact just a little bit, just because I want them to be more mature.
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact.
I would do
Armageddon, maybe a little bit later. But
we've already done. I think we've already done Armageddon.
Then Deep Impact.
So,
but I would.
I wanted to be older for the emotional impact because that movie is a much better movie. I mean, it's a lot more cerebral than.
Yeah, because the asteroid hit it. Yeah.
As well.
Godzilla. I want to start doing some Godzilla stuff with them. Once again, going back to the horror thing, I think I want to show them The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah.
I think they would really like it.
Mm-hmm.
The Mummy series. I think they'd really like the Mummy series.
Yes. We started when Quinn was around that age. Yeah.
This is more okay. I'm going to throw this movie out. And you know what? We're going to hold on to this one for the next thing. Speed. I think they might really like Speed. I might hold off on that one, but Speed might be okay.
No, I think you're okay. Like again, if your kids are more action based,
they are. So
yeah, Speed's good.
I'm going to hold off on this one. We'll sort of come back around. Oh, talking about romantic comedies. Groundhog Day. I don't think they've seen Groundhog Day yet. That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
This one I'm holding off on. Oh, Mars Attacks. I want to show them Mars Attacks. I think they think it was hilarious.
Yes. They might not get some of the humor, but that'd be fine.
Right. That would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because Alex is playing, what's the game he's playing with y'all?
Helldivers.
Helldivers. I really want to show them. I just have to completely skip the whole shower scene. I kind of want to show them Starship Troopers.
There's also a sex scene.
But those are the only two things.
Yeah.
I forgot about the sex scene. I remember the shower scene. But okay.
So after
they're on the planet. It's right before Diz dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I may hold off a little bit longer on that one. The Matrix. I think I may introduce The Matrix.
Yeah.
If they're into it, go for it. I would say just watch it. And if that's one of those ones, I'm not going to force it on it. Like it may be like, hey, Nick, you want to watch this with me? Alex, I think you'll like it, but if you don't want to, that's fine. And if they say no, that's okay. Just throw it on anyway.
Let me see here. I'm still just kind of going through some of this stuff. I want them to wait a little bit longer on that one. Some of the stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next level.
Okay.
So now we're talking about teens.
Okay, so for teens,
we'll do like one at a time again.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do one at a time again.
Mean Girls.
Good pick.
That's a good one.
With your teen, especially girls, because that is high school. That's high school.
Yeah.
That's what high school's like for a girl. It's brutal, but Mean Girls for sure.
Empire Records.
Good, and the soundtrack's really good.
Soundtrack is fantastic. They'll get all the jokes. Coming of age. Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something I got to add on here in case someone doesn't say it.
Well, and then you can talk about
Rex Manning Day.
Well, Rex Manning Day, but also why is he acting funny after he eats those brownies?
Joseph, what's your first one for teenage?
Teenagers when I would show planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's a good one.
Let's see here. The Terminator.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really have a problem showing them T2 when they're younger. It's stuff in T1.
You have to watch T1 in order to enjoy T2.
I agree with that theory because otherwise you're just like, okay, well, Arnold's the good guy. And you're like, no. Yeah. So I actually just saw a thing. Did you know who else that they were considering to play that role?
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, but they couldn't see him as being a killer.
I know. Jokes on
Hilarious.
Yeah. Kris, what's your next one?
them. So do a John Wick, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
They
Can't
really
wait
like
to watch that with them.
It's ridiculous. Like, he should have died in the first one in the first 10
You still haven't
minutes.
watched the fourth one.
I won't, because it's I can't anymore.
I'll watch it with you.
No, I bet you would.
Ray, what's your next one?
Got to go with The Crow.
Oh,
Not the new one.
no.
You got to go with the original one.
The new
Yeah,
one?
The Crow's a good one.
That's blasphemous.
It's especially if they're in more of that dark phase, because it's fantastic.
If they're goth or emo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the movie.
Yeah, things are getting to an emo phase. We'll be like, all right, hey, we need to watch this movie. So,
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Joseph, what's your next one?
So my first thought for a teenage movie was like, they have will not have zero attention span, and they just want to see all the flashing lights and all the action-y stuff. So I went with Rocky IV.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an hour and 15 minutes long, and it's just
That's it?
asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd actually put that in like that 12 age, depending on the kid.
Yeah.
I'd almost would watch. Yeah.
I was younger when I watched Rocky IV. Was
I'm
my
in it right now.
See, because
I-
like you can't
first Rocky
do the first Rocky. It's too
Nope.
much of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Rocky 2 is still a little bit of that.
it was the fourth one that I saw first.
Mhm.
Then I watched the third one, and now I've watched the entire series, and it never messed. Like I enjoyed all of them.
Mhm.
But yeah, that fourth one is the one that got me hooked.
I freaking love that movie. The soundtrack on that movie is like one of the best soundtracks ever. So
And the workout scenes.
Fun fact, Elaine thought I was lying to her about people calling Sylvester Stallone the next Martin Scorsese after the first Rocky movie. And that is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you gotta wait this late for, well, unless you just fast forward through all the nudity and stuff. But at this age, when they're, and teenagers, I could see them looking back at the effects and being, wow, that looks really bad. But RoboCop, I think they would enjoy RoboCop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I was a teenager. Maybe I might have been 12 or 13 when I saw RoboCop. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
all right, what's your next one?
White chicks. Logan went to the she watched White Chicks.
Oh my god.
White
She's-
Chicks.
She's
laughing.
laughing. She's
right
laughing
now.
now.
She's laughing. White Chicks for sure. It's ridiculous. It's like such a. I think because it's so outlandish and so ridiculous, and you could never make it now.
Oh hell no.
Only 20 years old, you could never do it now. But yeah.
Yeah. Ray?
I'm gonna go with Parenthood, because
So good.
that's
That's a Ron Howard movie.
Ron Howard, but I think they're the right age as a team to
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
appreciate that story, because
Super good.
it's just such a good story, but it's also like, it's like Logan's asked about what it's like to be, what it was like in the 80s. Well, there you go.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was like. And
Yeah.
it's got a really amazing cast.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Joseph?
Well, I'm keeping theme. Although I think this one's a little bit longer. I'm closer to 2-hour mark. Total Recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Original.
Oh yeah.
Total Recall. Yeah.
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 I am not a Stanley Kubrick fan. If they want to start getting a little more cerebral, I'll go down some of those paths with them, like 2001. But I'm thinking The Shining, just because it's so iconic.
Yeah.
I think at this age they would probably be okay. Not so much for the horror, just because there's a lot of nudity and a lot of the horror to that movie is the fact that you're an adult and you're, it's more adult theme. It's not like, sexual. It's an adult theme. It's like, what do you do as a middle-aged person? You start losing your mind and that type of stuff. So
Here's what you do, Eugene. Figure out when you're going to show that to them. Or, no, reverse that. Figure out the next time you're going to come out here to visit. Show it to them before you leave, and then we can go to the hotel.
There you go.
that would be fantastic.
or watch it at the hotel.
Or watch it at the hotel. Yeah.
I don't know if I would even do that, to be honest
But,
with you. So
No, don't tell them. Just like, hey, we're going to go for a drive, and then just slowly creep up on
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Conversation, then boom, the hotel.
That would be awesome.
Thank you.
All right, what's your next one, Kris?
Also, I should mention as a parent rule for us, it was by the time the kids were in high school, we kind of went, okay.
Yeah, whatever,
man.
Fair enough. Yeah,
that's what you're going to watch, and you're
if
going to suffer the consequences.
If you're in grade 9, you're old enough to figure it out yourself.
Yeah,
Yep.
you need to start figuring out what you can handle on your own. So we stopped policing it at grade 9. So it was like around 14. We were like,
there's nothing even there.
Good. We'll talk about it. We can discuss it, but like you need to know what you can handle.
I think that's a good rule of thumb. Yeah.
So the next one I had was Constantine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I feel like
great movie.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites, but I feel like it's a superhero movie, but not at the same time. Like, I just think it's really great, especially if your kids really like, if they're really into like mythology and demonology and all that kind of stuff. If they're playing things like Diablo or whatever, it's got like all of those. I think all of those aspects in it. Plus, you get to see a young Shia LaBeouf.
Well, dang, I need a cat in my screen now. Ray, what's your next one?
It's almost dinner time for him. So
okay. Well,
This one's just bugging us.
She's just bugging us.
If you want to stick with the horror themes, you got to consider Candyman.
All right. I can't. I think I've seen the first one. I don't even know if I've seen any of the other ones.
I haven't seen it. I only remember the first one. A friend of mine was big into horror, and she that was her. We have to watch this. I'm like, okay. It's Tara.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like grade 8 when we were watching that. So
fair enough. Joseph, what's your next one?
This is sort of along the same thing that Ray and Kris had, that you're in high school. You kind of have an idea. So I would show them one of my favorite comedies of all time, Kingpin.
Yes. That's one of those ones you got to be a little older to watch.
Yes.
Yep.
Is that the one with Woody Harrelson?
Yes, it is.
I've never watched it. I can just see the movie poster in my head.
Oh God, it's so funny.
Bill Murray too, right? Yeah.
Bill Murray's in it. Yep.
Randy Quaid.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh God. All right.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. I actually skipped over this one. I would have put this one if I haven't. In fact, if I have not shown the boys this one, I need to go ahead and show it to them. Die Hard.
Yeah.
Like Die Hard's a freaking fantastic movie. All right, but I think you need to be a little bit older, even though I was already explaining the movie a little bit to them. The Thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the original. Like, I don't know. They might be able to handle it now, especially if we watch a making of, because it's like, remember, once again, this was all animatronics. Like, but man, that is a freaky ass movie, man. So
you mentioned Die Hard. I started with Die Hard 3. Die Hard with a Vengeance is the first one I watched.
Oh, really? Okay.
Got me into the rest of this series. So
nice.
Samuel L. Jackson, like hell yeah.
Kris, what's your next one?
So I think around when you're a teenager, I think John Hughes would be a very interesting. Any of the John Hughes movies would be very interesting to watch, because you are going through, because the teenager experience is sort of universal across time. And now there are things that are like themes, like just dialogue you can't say anymore, like slurs and things like that you would never say now. But I think, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off is kind of ridiculous, but and then like Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Weird Science, any kind of all the John Hughes stuff I think is. I
agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Ray, what's your next one?
So staying with that theme of teen being universal.
What?
Coneheads.
Oh,
you gotta watch Coneheads.
Forgot about.
But I would wait for that like early teen in order to watch it.
Yeah,
I think.
There's a lot of comedies that is like, I don't know, you're a little too young for this. It's like,
But Coneheads is definitely one of those.
Yeah.
Same with Wayne's World. The kids
Wayne's World's great too.
Yeah.
Joseph, what's your next one?
So this next one I had was solely because, given how old I am now, I will most likely have a teenager in my mid 50s. So if they are into like cops and stuff, I would show them Lethal Weapon, just so I can say to them, I'm too old for this shit.
Yep.
And they understand what I'm doing.
Okay, would you start with the first? Because the first one's like just a straight up like action movie, and then the other ones after that are all action comedies.
I would start with 2.
Yeah,
maybe 3.
because the first one's not even like the characters aren't even really the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it was 2, 3, 4 that they were like, oh no, these are the characters that we like.
Yeah.
So, the only reason I would hold off on this one just for this age is just be so that maybe they're old enough to appreciate it. But Blade Runner, because it was so iconic.
Which one?
Not which one you mean, which version, right? That's what you're talking about.
That's what I mean.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. There's like 15 versions of that movie. And see, by that by itself, like if either one of them are interested in film, that would be a fantastic movie just to show them, just to be like, hey, what if we watch this movie and then I want to show you some clips from other versions, other cuts of the movie, and just see how much different, little things can change it. Because like when they put in the dialogue at the end, it really changes the whole movie. Like it's like, okay, so that's the ending. Like it's So
does a supercut exist with all of the scenes?
I'm sure if I scour YouTube hard enough, probably. So, all right, Kris, what's your next one?
That is all that I have, but I will say rewatching things. I already said that with the John Hughes movies.
Yeah, you did.
Rewatching movies that they saw when they were little and they missed a lot. Rewatching them when they're teenagers. That's a whole different experience because then they're picking up on stuff and they're like, and you're like, yeah, that's always been there. You just got in on the joke. So that's fun. That's fun to watch those things now, and then they get all of the humor. It's
like
fun.
we were watching Friends a long time ago when the kids were younger.
Yeah.
They would watch, pay attention a little bit. But then we watched it with Logan as a teen. She's like, I'm like, yep.
Yeah, that's always been there, dude.
That's how I felt going back and watching some episodes, because there was a while Christy was rewatching The Golden Girls. And I remember watching it with my grandmother and my mom, and it was just like, oh, that's funny because, they kind of said a thing or whatever. And then once you watch it, you're like, wow, they got away with a lot of stuff.
So much, because we're watching Golden Girls right now as we're eating dinner, and it's just like, how did they get away with so much?
Both kids love Sophia the most.
Oh yeah, Sophia.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, who's next?
Me. I'm gonna go with Hot Shots, because if you're gonna watch great comedies, like it's
Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah.
I've got one to go along with that here in a second. Joseph, what's your next one?
Well, that goes with my next one is The Naked Gun.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
I think they can handle it now, but if I showed it to them, there would still be, it's so rapid fire. I'm afraid half of the jokes would still go over their head.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think at teenage, a little bit older, they're going to be able to do the rapid fire and not laugh so much that they don't catch the next joke that's literally coming up.
They'll keep up.
Yeah.
Naked Gun.
Leslie Nielsen.
God, those are some good movies.
He's Canadian.
So, I really want to show them this movie because there's a sex scene in the second one, but there's no visual stuff. It's all the language that's used because it's very, very graphic. But I want to show them freaking Predator. If they want to watch action movie, like that is a keystone movie. But just the conversations between some of those guys is, it's rough. Like, I mean, they might can handle it, but I don't really want to answer some of those questions.
Is it bad that I can picture Nick saying this to the point to where it annoy the hell out of you? But anytime he hurts himself saying, I ain't got time to bleed.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I can just picture Nick saying that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's something that we're going through right now. Like he'll make a joke, and if it lands, if it's a good one, then he'll reuse it again. Or like, okay, you had a callback, that's fine. But then he'll keep using it. It's like, no, you killed it, dude. You can't keep going back to the well on this one. So, So for example, here's a good example. I had my label maker out. We were organizing garage stuff. So I had my label maker out, and he's like, can I make a label? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so he makes a label, and I can't even remember where it comes around, but he tells us he wrote penis on it. And he thought it was hilarious. Here's where it gets even funnier. his autistic ass, not autistic, what's the word I'm looking for?
ADHD.
Dyslexic.
His dyslexic ass wrote it Peins. I'm like, Peens? And then he redid it again and wrote it correctly and decided to put it here on Daddy's cup. And I was like, I hate to tell you, had you done it right the first time or not mentioned it and just put it on the cup, you would have gotten full points.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't get full points, dude, because you kept going back to that well. You can only hit the same joke so many times, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's a skill. They got to learn. They got
to learn it. So
for sure.
all right, Kris, did you have any more or Ray?
I did not have any more.
Okay, go on, Ray.
I've only got 2 more on my list here. One for a horror and one for comedy. So I'll go with comedy again, which is super bad because you got to go with.
We just watched that recently with Logan.
Yeah,
nice.
I liked it. I don't think she really.
No,
enjoyed it.
she did laugh over a lot of it, but she got also.
Yeah, I think it was too long. She got bored.
Yeah, and then the one that I thought of for if you keep going down this horror film, you got to bring up Hellraiser.
Yeah, I may eventually get there. So
yeah,
I want to see how long and kind of experiment and see, like, because there may be certain genres of horror he's fine with. Like I said, when I showed him the thing for Paranormal Activity, the fact that it was a house and it was like a haunting, he was not down for that. You know, serial killer running around, he was okay with it. So we'll see. Joseph, you have any more?
Yeah, the one kind of outside of alien thriller sci-fi thing that I had was Prometheus.
Okay.
I feel like that doesn't have a ton of jump scares. Shows the origin story, so to speak, of aliens. So it put a nice little ribbon on that.
Yeah. The second one I still think to this day is the better movie, but I want to be a little bit older just because so many of the jokes are sex based. But freaking Austin Powers.
Oh
no, our kids have watched them.
They watched.
Oh my god, I cannot wait to watch that.
12 we started
12
because that's when but now we still that's Quinn really likes those movies.
Oh god, they're so, like I said, I still think the second one's my favorite, but I think it's the better movie. But
the second one is my favorite as well.
I think we've watched all of 3 of them with the kids.
Quinn still talks about the peeing scene, so it's
the peeing scene go well. Yeah.
Nice.
Evacuation come. Nope.
Yeah.
And see, they have found some of that stuff on YouTube or whatever and brought it to me. They're like, Dad, look, it looks like a giant. And I'm like, yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So Quinn is a big Mel Brooks fan. He hasn't seen Blazing Saddles, but he has seen Young Frankenstein, and we like Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yes, that was another good one.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I love Men in Tights.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Have you seen? Have y'all shown him Dracula Dead and Loving It?
No.
Oh, we should. Yeah.
Oh, that's another good. And that one's got Leslie Nielsen in it. Oh, it's so good. When he raises up and hits his head on the chandelier, I just die.
Yeah. Quinn really likes slapstick comedy.
Good for him.
Yeah, he loves it.
Ray, you said you had one more?
No, that was it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. I'm trying to figure out when. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, and this is when I wish Sean was on here. I want to show him some Star Trek. I'm trying to figure out when and which ones. Like,
ooh, that is definitely a Sean.
Because I could definitely go Kelvin, and because it's more up to date, it's more hip. It might be a little more. It might grab them a little bit more. But it's also by not considered by a lot of Star Trek people as being real Star Trek. That's JJ's version. That's not real Trek.
Yeah, but it might get world.
But
let's see first.
Generations was the first one we showed the kids.
Okay.
Because the original Star Trek movies are just a little too dated in order to bring the kids along.
Yeah.
If you really enjoy it, then you can that's why Next Generation for me was the one
that's the one that got me in, but they don't like Next Generation. So it was the movies that got them in.
And it was the new movies that they enjoyed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched Generations with them, and they just watched it in front of them, and they did other things.
Yeah, they didn't really care.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna run through some other movies on here that I had that I do want to watch with them at some point. Like I have not seen all the newer Planet of the Apes movies. I hear they're fantastic. I want them to be a little bit older, so maybe they'll kind of grasp onto the idea that the whole idea behind those movies.
Yep.
Another one when they get a little bit older, Dodgeball.
Yeah, we've shown them Dodgeball.
God, that's a funny movie.
I think we did that in more like the 12, 13.
Yeah, we might have been a little soon for a quiz.
So, this is another comedy that is absolutely stupid, and I'm almost afraid I almost think I need to show it to him, even though there's a lot of like kind of sex-based humor in it. I think because it's so lowbrow, it would actually play better younger. Kung Pao, Way of the Fist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I think 12 may be like the right age for that movie because it is really low humor, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Joseph?
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. When they get a little older, The Prestige, that's a freaking fantastic movie. Let's see.
Oh yeah, we've done Dumb and Dumber, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've already seen Dumb and Dumber with them. So the Sherlock Holmes movies, I really like both of those.
Yeah. You know what? If your kid's really into like detective stuff, I think that would be fantastic as like a 12, 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Have you
Cornetto trilogy?
The Enola Holmes ones on Netflix?
I haven't watched them yet.
Those are really good.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Henry Cavill plays a really good Sherlock. He does.
I don't know.
They're good.
I haven't shown them all three of the Cornetto trilogy. Nick has watched Shaun of the Dead with me, but he hasn't watched Hot Fuzz yet. I think he'd really like Hot Fuzz just because I think maybe we need to get some more action movies under 80s style action movies under our belt, because then that's when that movie really hits, because it's such a love letter to those movies. But yeah, when they get a little older, if he's still onto the whole horror thing, Signs messed me up.
Yeah.
But that was a good movie. Tombstone.
Great movie.
Fucking fantastic movie.
Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead's another good one too.
Yeah.
So, and then most of these things are things that y'all put on there. Oh, Inception. Like I want them to be a little bit older to watch things like Inception and
yeah, I would watch that one now with them.
What's the space movie?
Interstellar?
Interstellar.
Yeah.
That movie, because it's so mind bending. I want them to be older to be able to have those conversations.
Yeah, I agree.
Throw on the list too with getting a little bit older, but Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
That's a really good one. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. It's a long one, so they definitely be older.
Need to be older
because it's like a 3-hour long movie. That's really good.
Speaking of some other movies I had on throw on there, like I said, I'd already told y'all Speed, but like Demolition Man.
Yes,
that's a
friggin' awesome movie. Broken Arrow, I love that movie.
It's been a long time since I've watched that one.
That one's a.
If we're gonna go in that vein, The Rock.
Oh yeah, The Rock's on here too. So yeah, because of that speech. That speech is fantastic. So, but yeah, there's a lot of things on here that are just kind of like, when do I kind of start this? Like I said, the whole Bond stuff. I think they would probably be okay with it. It might be, Dad, what is exactly going on here? Well, she's killing him with her legs. Oh, they're having sex. So, but because I mean, that was honestly the really only real sex scene. The rest of it's just implied, you know.
Yeah. Would you do Mission Impossible 2 with that as well?
Mission Impossible.
I've got Mission Impossible on here as well.
Okay.
So, and I haven't watched all those movies, and that might be a fun trip to go down to watch those. So,
what's the comedy with Mr. Bean that did that?
Oh, Johnny English.
Johnny English.
Yeah. I've got at least the Bean movie on here because there was flipping through, and Nick goes, "Is that Mr. Bean?" I'm like, "You know who Mr. Bean is? We got to put one of these movies on here." So,
what was that other one with him? Rat Race.
Yes. Oh, that's a really good movie.
That is a fan. Oh hell, thank you, sir.
Good pick.
That's a good one.
We have not watched that with the kids yet.
No, I don't think we have.
That movie is so freaking funny.
The little girl poop out the window.
That's a good one. I like that the one that I like is the guy with the tongue piercing, because I used to have one. We both used to have one. That's very accurate.
Well, isn't Seth
Green's in it. Yeah.
Seth Green's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in that movie. Oh, that movie is funny as hell.
It's good. Yeah.
So I always said they should have rebranded it and just, you know how they made, a Clue movie and stuff. They should have just called that Sorry. Like,
yeah. You know,
because they were constantly messing with each other to put each other back in the race. I was like, they should have just named that Sorry the movie. So, but all right, then I think that's a pretty extensive list. So if you've been listening, hopefully you've been writing it all down. And if you have thoughts and stuff, we'd love to hear them. But yeah, like it's one of those things. If you have kids, in the case of Ray and Kris, may have discovered a movie on here that they're like, oh dang, that one slipped by. We need to go back and watch that one. I'm currently in the planning stage of trying to figure out when I'm going to show some of these movies. And I'm sure Joseph will have questions as time goes by. But once again, it always comes down to the kid. Some kids can handle stuff a lot earlier. Some kids are just like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain a lot of my picks are going to get vetoed anyway.
Knowing your wife, you've got a whole like Disney thing to go through before anything else. So,
but that the thing is, growing up on Disney, right? Mm-hmm. It sets you up to understand the gravity of the other movies eventually too, because Disney breaks your heart.
Oh my god!
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like every movie from my childhood, a parent dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
No shit. Like when you really start breaking that down, it's just like, wow, they really fucked with us as kids, man.
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with Gen X and millennials? It's like, look at what we watched when we were kids. They broke us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I even heard someone say that one time. They were like, what? Were you all watching horror movies as kids? Like, no, just straight up Disney shit. Like, like. So
with no rating system, you don't understand. There wasn't the rating system there is now.
Like I said, Gremlins was PG.
Yeah.
That scene is that scene is insane when you take it by itself. The Kris, when she's doing the explanation, but then just what like the Gremlins scared the hell out of me as a kid. Like I was freaked out
because of the movie poster. I was like, nope, done. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And now we have a dog that looks like Gizmo. So
yeah.
Is it time for my bonus question?
Oh yeah, tell you what, we can do that before we do picks and pans. Go for it.
So my bonus question is, having gone through this list now, what good kid movie would you not show your kids? For me, it'd be Fox and the Hound.
Oh,
I can't do that to them.
I wouldn't show. We've already told Logan she's not watching All Dogs Go to Heaven.
No.
Oh, that one's rough.
Yeah, so there's that one.
Yeah, especially with the story about the
little girl like voice actor.
I'm on the fence about showing the boys The Secret of NIMH just because it's so weird and so like I had complex thoughts and emotions watching that movie as a kid that I didn't know how to comprehend. Like, watching the rats get like I knew even at that age this is a bad thing that's happening to these rats. But then on the other hand, it's like, well then. But they became smart and they could do things. Like, isn't that a good thing? But it was bad that it happened to them. And like, that messed me up as a kid. Like that was a moral quandary I was not ready for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think that All Dogs, I don't know what a good movie we wouldn't show Quinn, but I'm just trying to think.
I'm really trying to think now.
Maybe that one too. I don't know. Yeah. The All Dogs Go to Heaven was like really dark.
That was rough.
It was rough.
That was a rough movie.
Yeah. I think that's it though. That one would be.
Well, you know what was a family movie, and Eugene, you brought it up. Old Yeller was a family movie. And I would not have a chance I'd fucking show that to the kids. Right?
No.
I know, right?
No. So
that's a good question.
I did think of one more for kids movies, by the way, going back to around that 6-year-old. And you can save this for a baseball movie, Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah.
That's cute. That was good.
That was a cute movie.
Yeah.
I had to throw that out there.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our picks and or pans. Kris, you've been going first all night, so I'll go ahead and pick on you first.
Okay. So I have both. So we watched Inside Out 2 at the movie theater. I was fine until one particular scene. Then I cried.
you've seen the movie, you'll know which part we're talking about.
No, because Logan and I cried at different parts.
Oh, that's true.
But it was really good, and it's very good if you yourself, like, because there's more complex emotions that get introduced because Riley's older now, and they do such a good job. Those two movies are they're so smart. They're really good. Yeah. Kids had their last day of school on Friday, which also means that we have a high school grad. She is done high school, and she's so freaking happy she's done school. He thinks it's weird. He's already halfway done. He thinks time's flying by.
Just wait, kid.
God, I'm like, okay, 16-year-old. Bridgerton season 3 part 2 finally came out. A bit of a lunchbox letdown in that there was only 4 episodes, barely any Colin and Penelope. Too much was happening. One love scene. The first season was fucking raunchy. I get one season.
That's how they hook you.
And then I was like, I'm gonna watch Perfect Match season 2. Train wreck. Absolute train wreck. I was rolling my eyes and sometimes I had to shut it off. I'm like, I can't. The secondhand embarrassment is too much. And then I made the mistake of like looking up if any of the couples are still together after all of them declared their love for each other, and none of them are together. So I was like, of course not. Stupid. And then was it last night or the night before? We watched Bowling for Columbine with the kids.
Oh, okay.
Nights ago. Yeah. Quinn didn't quite watch all of it, but Logan did, and it was just like they were that age, the age that they are now. Those kids were, and we were those kids' age at that time. Like we were in high school in 1999, and just how because in Canada it's such a different view when it comes to guns and to all of that. So when we're just to show them the comparisons, like we're not all that different, really with a lot of our things, but there seems to be some really fundamental differences when you look at it. And that's one of them. And just showing the kids that to just know, like, yeah, it's like it happened and it's heavy and they were your age that you are now. Yeah. And so we're not going to shy away from showing the kids those tough things either, because they need to know.
Oh, no, you shouldn't.
No, and it started with like we started talking about like all of this shit that has kind of happened as through our lives.
Yeah.
With the Berlin Wall coming down, and we talked about like all these different things, and then that one kind of came up, and we're like, listen, if you want to watch it, we'll watch it. And so Logan was in. She's like, yeah, let's watch it. I forgot about some of those scenes. Some
of them are heavy scenes.
They're very heavy.
But she watched it all.
And listen, Michael Moore, I know he can be very polarizing for sure. That's a good way of putting it. I appreciate the way that he at least gets you talking, and so you agree with him or not, at least you're able to have a respectful conversation if you can get the dialogue going. So that's what I appreciate. It
was also just funny that he went to Sarnia or in Toronto.
It was Sarnia, Toronto.
He just started open doors. He just started opening doors to people's houses, and it's like, our door.
Yeah, we don't lock our doors.
Our doors are not locked. Why would you? We're home. What's the point of locking your door?
Our door doesn't lock until we go to bed.
Then
we lock.
And then maybe when we're not home. Yeah. Like that's it. So it's just funny. And the attitudes about Canada have changed since that movie.
And that, good. I mean, thank you for bringing that up, because what I've noticed is, especially with these things and internet and all that stuff, I can see some of what they were talking about in that movie starting to happen in Canada now, where there's more of that fear mongering and that kind of stuff happening in society, and it's based on misinformation, right? So.
Yeah. So there was that. We watched that. So that was light and fun. I forgot my pan. Yeah, we had a wicked heat wave last week. Like it was points where we were warmer than you, Eugene. Like it was hotter than hell here.
Yeah. It felt like 111 down in Toronto.
Yeah. Like that's yeah. But so I did. No, thank you for the heat wave. Absolutely not. We finally have the windows open for the first time in over a week. It's lovely. There's a breeze. We were this close to a tornado warning, so that was fun.
We had a tornado
warning, but it went like north of us, and it was fine. But and then my other pan is twofold. So we tried watching the second Aquaman, and we made it about 20 minutes, half hour before we shut it off because it was bad. To piggyback on that one, we watched Black Adam the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough. That was rough. That was so bad.
It's bad.
So bad. And then I saw this thing on Instagram. I sent it to you, and it made a good point because they were comparing Arnold Schwarzenegger's career and The Rock's career.
Yep.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger has paired himself up and teamed up with really good directors, and he's cared more about the story and the director he's working with than his image or whatever, his physique. That's not, because look at his range that he's done, right? But The Rock has picked a lane, he's picked a style, and he's fucking committing to the bit, regardless of whether it's a good story, good director, good whatever. If he thinks he can make a buck off it, he's going to attach his name to it. And this one was really clearly about The Rock. We're doing a Rock movie.
Yeah.
We don't really care about the story because so much was happening. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't care about Black Adam. I want to know about these three, Joe. Who are these people? What the fuck is happening? Whoa, I don't like this. And it was
Dr.
bad.
Fate was wasted in that movie.
Pardon?
Dr. Fate was wasted in that movie.
So much was wasted in the movie. And I felt, I'm like, it's like DC can't get their shit together. They're trying, and they're trying so hard. And then every single time they fall on their face. And you're like, buddy, are you okay?
Well, we'll see what happens with this new series, like the new.
Let's see what Josh, like James.
I'm hoping. I've got high hopes. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think everyone is smart enough at this point that they could have reused, because I know they were like, well, we don't want to confuse people. No, you have a good guy who plays Superman. You have a fantastic Wonder Woman. You've got, I mean, Aquaman, whatever. But keep using them. They're fine for these roles. Like, I don't get that. Like, especially Superman and Wonder Woman. I think they were very well cast. The movies they were in were just, well, except for the first Wonder Woman movie. I think the movie just had problems. So
I didn't mind Ben Affleck as Batman either, though.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I thought he was fine as older Batman. So
but it was just really, because I have watched The Rock since he was in the WWE. So like, it's been a long time since I've seen this guy, and he's just sort of picked his part, his shtick, and then that's it. That's all he's ever really done. Like, besides a couple of variations, and they were comparing his career to Arnold Schwarzenegger's, and just how, while they started off as action stars, how much they've diverged in that, because the catalog of Arnold Schwarzenegger is pretty diverse, and the directors he's attached himself to are really great. And then you see The Rock, and you're like, oh, buddy.
One went after the paycheck, and the other one went after the
then
acting.
Yeah, so then the other part was Dave Bautista's following more what Arnold Schwarzenegger has done.
Yeah,
The Rock. So Dave Bautista's one to watch instead of The Rock, and they're the same age. The Rock and Dave Bautista are the same age. It's not like they're at different points in their life. They're the same age, and they were on the WWE at the same time.
And honestly, it's funny because I mean, as much as I like The Rock in comedy stuff, I think Dave Bautista's got more range. I think he can do
way more range.
a lot more different things than. And see, that was the thing about Arnold. Like, when everyone was just like, "Oh, it's silly because he's this big buff guy. Now he's going to do this comedy." He was like, "No, he's really funny in this. Like, and it's still a banger of a movie." You know,
he played a pregnant man, and it was believable.
Yeah,
you're so good.
He got emotional, and it was appropriate. Like,
he went through labor. Was good. He did a good job.
Another person I think falls into that category of of knowing what they're doing and picking good stuff is John Cena. Like, he's done some stuff but then now he's like figured out what he wants to do, and he's like, I'll do whatever. I don't care. As long as I think it's good, I'll lend myself to it. I just don't want to do bad stuff and stuff I don't want to do. And he's done really well. So,
and John Cena's their age as well, and he was on the WWE at the same time, maybe a little bit later. But like, these three guys they did the wrestling. They were professional wrestlers. They were really successful, really great at their job, and they've parlayed that into movies. But the way that they've gone about it is very, very different.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's
Ray, good job, Ray. What's your pick and or pan?
Okay, so my pan, I'm going to start with, I really dislike YouTube music, because I have to use it now for my podcasts
Mm-hmm.
because they got rid of the Google podcast, which was perfect and it worked great. And now in my car, I can't use YouTube Music by skipping and doing all the things like I used to be.
Oh, that sucks.
And now I have to have my phone out to actually use it.
Oh.
And it's like, fuck. Anyway.
No, I understand. I get it because like every so often they'll do something to the Apple Podcast app and it's something minor and it's just like, why did you break this?
Yeah.
Like it's a minor thing, but it really kind of breaks the app. I totally get that.
Yeah. And then Kris did talk about the pick about Inside Out 2.
So good.
Brilliant
So
movie.
good.
A little hopeful here is that art classes might have some art classes start back up a little bit. So we'll see
Oh,
where
nice.
it goes. And then the last thing I'm going to bring up is NHL playoffs. If you are not a fan of hockey or you're new to hockey, tune in on Monday night. You're going to see one of the most potentially exciting games you've ever seen. The scenario that has played out in these playoffs, this is the second time in the NHL history that a team has come back from 3 games down in a playoff series to tie it 3 games to 3 games. And we're going to play one more game on Monday, and the winner takes the cup. And that hasn't happened since the 40s.
And it's
Wow.
The NHL playoffs.
Yeah, one of them's a Canadian team.
Yeah, and so good on the Edmonton Oilers. They came back. They tied it up. They've done the impossible. Everybody wrote them off after the first 3 games because why wouldn't you?
Oh
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They were losing, and they weren't losing like. So anyway, it's great series, and I can't wait to see them finish it off one way or the other. It's a great story. So
Nice. Joseph, pick and or pan.
So Pan, Madam Web was 2 hours of my life wasted. I tried. I really did try.
Good on you for trying, sir.
I sat through the whole thing. Dakota Johnson did not do a bad job.
Okay.
Neither did the 3 girls that played the various Spider Women.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel Sims, South American dude or whatever, but as you're watching it and you're hearing him talk, you can tell that they layered the voice audio track on top of the movie because sometimes his lips are moving and sound is coming out. And
I heard about that.
Opposite, and you're just like, this is like you're watching a samurai film from the 70s, you know?
Yeah, I heard the ADR and it was horrible.
It is disgusting. I thought I had seen a TikTok of this one scene where it's like they straight up ripped this out of Spider-Man 1, and I was like, there's no way this. And then I saw the scene, I was like, that's 100%. They edited out Tobey Maguire and made it the Dakota Johnson thing. And
really?
There's a scene in Spider-Man 1 where he's like running through an alley and he jumps up onto a building and you see through his perspective.
Yeah.
It's also in Madam Web.
No way.
So they just edit out all the reflections to where you can see that it's Tobey Maguire. And then I hope y'all don't care about spoilers, but like all the trailers where it was like the 3 Spider Women fighting the bad guy and blah, blah, blah. There's only 2 sequences where they're dressed like that, and they are in visions. It never actually happens in the movie. Like the 3 girls never get their powers in the movie. None of that happens.
So what's
it is just a premonition that Madam Web has, that this is, or that Ezekiel Sims has, that this is possibly going to happen. The whole premise of the movie is he has this vision that these 3 girls are going to try and kill him, so he's hunting them down before they get their powers. So all of the trailers are 100% misleading. Not a single time does any of that happen.
That sucks.
I could have got on board with the original premise for the movie that was supposed to be, and they were supposed to join up and join forces to save Peter.
Yeah,
because it was kind of like a Terminator thing happening, and all of the women were going to work together to save Peter. That was the whole idea of the first, but then they wanted to keep that for some reason for a different storyline so that they could use it for one of the other future movies that may not happen now. But
yeah. Well, and then like they changed Ezekiel Sims's origin story. He doesn't find the spider totem anymore. He gets bitten by a spider that gives all these people in the Peruvian rainforest Spider-Man powers. So there's like this whole clan of people that have these powers. And he gets bitten by and that's where the powers originate from. And his whole thing about hunting down spider people because the spider totem tells him to bring back balance to the whatever the web or whatever. None of that exists in this movie. It was the most memorable thing that happens in the movie is not even part of the plot because it is a vision that Dakota Johnson sees where all the three girls die. And then she's like, let's try that again, and rewinds the time in her brain or whatever. And then she goes and she rescues the three girls. So it's not even like at no point in the movie are any of them in any kind of real danger once Madam Web figures out how to use her powers, because she just keeps rewriting, jumping to a different timeline or pulling timelines together, and just literally none of it matters. It was very different. And then for some, she gets paralyzed for some reason because that's just what she does. And then they give her. Do you guys remember the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s? And towards the end, when Madam Web showed up for Secret Wars and she had the red glasses and everything like that, they tried to give her some of those, and she was in a wheelchair. And I'm sitting here and it's like, I hope the movie's over after this one scene, and that's where it ends, you know. But it was. But it was one of those things where, like, I started watching, and I was like, I am not going to be one of those guys that, this is a female-led movie, so I'm going to hate it. No, this thing was awful. It was awful. There is, like, one of the Spider Girls has, if you're going to use the MCU as an example, Iron Man tech, because she has the four the Iron Spider things. There's no Tony Stark. There's no even hint that there's that kind of technology in this movie. So it's just, it's a shame.
It's Sony doing Sony shit, which is hilarious because the animated Sony is knocking out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, this movie takes place in 2003, so it's before. Supposedly, it was to line up with that because that's how old Tom Holland is. Ish. So it's Spider-Man. Peter Parker's born in 2003, and that's how it's supposed to.
They didn't get permission, and there's
So,
Lord,
that's
do you have a pick?
My pick. Finished all 4 books in Bobaverse, and I'm halfway through book 2 in Expeditionary Force.
Oh yeah,
those have been great. I have been forcing time throughout the day so that I can actually listen to the books. The biggest help has come. So the way my office is organized is we don't have cubicles, we have pods. So it's a little like 3 foot, maybe 4 foot wall that comes up, and there's a little desk around it, but you can see everyone around you on your floor. And there's 4 people per pod. And so we had the 2 research teams, Large and my team's medium, on one section of the office. Well, Large hired someone else. So they needed an extra chair in there. So everybody had to move over a spot. And I volunteered to move out of my pod because I sat between my 2 team leads in my old pod. And anytime the moment my headphone came in, one of them would start talking to me. I moved out of my pod. I am now on an island by myself. All the podcasts, all the books, music. I have 3 screens, and one of them usually just has a TV show going because I can focus on my work and I can do it. And so that's how I've been able to do my books.
Nice.
If you need a break from those, have you listened to Hail Mary yet?
No, actually, one of my coworkers lent me the book. It's sitting in my bedroom.
Okay.
It's better to listen. It's better. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I have a bunch of Audible credits stacked because, like, when I finished Expeditionary Force book 1, I had the credit to go get book 2, and Audible was doing a sale where books 2, 3, and 4 were $5. So I just bought them.
Yes.
And then I have my credits stacked now. So I have through book 4 at least. I did notice that there's like a book 2.5 where they go to paradise or something like that.
It's fun.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
So,
but yeah, I am firmly in the spot right now where they just escaped the Thorannans, but Skippy put them in a star, and then they're on a frozen planet that they're calling Hoth while Skippy is fixing their ship. That is where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So much happens.
They just discovered that cavern with bones and artifacts and whatnot. It was literally the last thing I read or listened to today.
Nice. Yeah. That was a long time ago, wasn't it, right? I'm glad you enjoyed the Bobaverse books, though. Those are still some of my favorite.
I've already pre-ordered book 5 because I think it comes out in September.
September, yeah, can't wait. So, picks and pans. I've actually got 2. The first, my pan is while I was organizing my garage. Not my big toe, but the toe next to my big toe on my left foot. I dropped a 20-pound weight on it, and I thought I'd got my foot out of the way, but apparently I hadn't. It's still kind of, it's still pretty purpley, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. It was like Christy was like, do you need to go? I'm like, no, I've already looked it up. It's not constant pain. I, to this day, 46 years old, still have not broken a bone. Thank God. But yeah, because I was like, man, if I break this, it's not like they can do anything to it. They're just going to put it in a splint, and then
unbreakable.
I guess so. But yeah, so that really sucked. So I've kind of been dealing with that. So it has purposely caused me to somewhat take some time off. So I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and lean all the way into this. And like I said, Christy and the girls are gonna be gone for the next couple of days. So I think I'm gonna kind of just plant my butt on the couch and catch up on some TV and movies. So I think that'll be fine. That's my pan. My pick is a book that I'm maybe only halfway through. And had I already started reading this, it would have been my pick for this month. It is, I wouldn't call it a self-help book. I was listening to a podcast, and the guy that was on there interviewed this author, and the name of his book is The Happiness Curve. And it talks about the research showing that, at least in America, in the United States, it varies a little bit going from country to country, but in every culture that they've done this research on, they've noticed that your happiness is literally a U-shape, and it bottoms out in about your 40s. And it's even present in chimps and gorillas. So it's a mammal thing. And it talks about like the author's talking about, he's like, I was married. I was happily married. I was at the top of my game in my, in my job or whatever, but I just didn't feel like I was happy. I just felt this malaise, as you put it. He's like, it's not really a midlife crisis we go through. Some people do, but it's mainly because they don't know how to handle this malaise of what's wrong with me. Like, why am I just not happy? And he said, and one of the things that talks about in the research is the reason why a lot of people don't talk about it is because they're like, well, they look at themselves and look at other people, and they're like, I'm like, look at me, for example. I have a nice house. My job's not great, but it puts food on the table, and it's not like it's a horrible job. It's not a hard job by any means. It's not a bad job. I've got a wife and kids, and I, do Ghostbuster stuff. And there are times where I'm just like, I'm just not there. I just don't feel like I'm clicking. And the nice thing that, I'm still going through it, but it talks about how most people in general in their 50s start to kind of pull out, and it's just kind of keeps going up until you get to the point where you start kind of going to, late age, you start kind of breaking down at that point. But I'm just like, yeah, I could see this, because I always kind of joked I had a midlife crisis early whenever I started working out and lost a bunch of weight and everything like that. But yeah, like I can see that. And this explains a lot for a lot of my friends that are in their 40s, and they're just like, yeah, something just I just don't feel happy, or as happy as I did. And I don't know why. So yeah, I would have definitely recommended this book for everyone to read, because I think everyone would have gotten something out of it. So Who knows? It may be my pick for the next go round. We'll see. So, well, that is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Can't even say Google, YouTube, wherever you listen to the show. You can catch us on YouTube at Epically Geeky. You can also find us on the website at epicallygeeky.com, where you can find the other shows that we do, including Creatively Geeky, Sustainably Geeky, and Marginally Geeky. You can catch us on social media at Epically Geeky as well. Where can we find you online, Kris?
On Instagram at Moody Midlife.
Ray?
Fixing everything that Sean's fucking around with. So college students, look out. Or if you're applying for college, don't look up anything
On Wikipedia.
And other than that, on Instagram, the Reluctant Yeti. Hopefully, I will have spoiler alert for the Creatively Geeky, but
nice.
We'll see if my print works, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that works out for you. Joseph, where can we find you online?
I don't know. Google it.
You're around.
Just don't Wikipedia it.
Yeah.
And as always, you can find my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and nope, not Twitter, just for Facebook and Instagram. I've got to stop saying that, but I've been saying it for like over a decade. So, it is what it is. For everyone on the site, have a good night.